Blog Talk Radio.
Contra Radio Network, Preparedness Radio, with your host, John Jeffers.
All right, welcome to Contra Radio Network. I'm your host, John Jeffers. Tonight's information, valuable, not to be missed. If you want to, you can join us live on Facebook. We're doing our official first live broadcast. When we're done with these, we'll be putting them, or actually, Dawn will be putting those on the YouTube channel. When we get enough listeners, then we'll make an official YouTube channel. So make sure you do your part to help build the audience for the live video. If you want to, you can listen to us also on Blog Talk Radio. This is a simulcast. Yes, it is. Tonight, I want to talk to you first about the foundations of good community security. Where did I get this from? The Survival Zone. Okay, very good. TheSurvivalZone.com. Let's bring this over here. There we go. All right. It's very clear that the essence of long-term survival and preparedness is all about community. Many of the bunker building, food hoarding preppers of old have come to the conclusion that John Donne wrote about in the 16th century, and that is, no man is an island unto himself. Now, your ability to motivate and engage your community is the key to success and security. Fortunately for you, there is always one motivating factor that gets attention, and that is security. Everyone wants to protect their own things. They may not care a lick about their neighbor, but their home and possessions are sacred to them. So, we're going to discuss three very distinct and important practices for achieving a safer community. These methods will require the work of many, and that's what makes them so beneficial. Each has implications in today's world and in the world we may one day be faced with. The Community Watch. So you put together your own Community Watch your neighborhood. Look for at least 8 to 10 members who can walk the neighborhood in shifts a few times a night. This will add a presence to your neighborhood that will be noted by any outsiders looking to cause trouble. Train thoroughly on process for witnessing crime, when to call the cops, when to avoid getting involved at all. This must be a big part of your watch group so they know when and how to react. Now, communication. A few different vehicles for quick and collective communication within your community. It is imperative that we include technology in our communication plans. You will hear from more neighbors more often if you communicate in a network that is shooting issues and info to a growing list via email or other method. Now, Facebook, though continually more tyrannical in its blocking of certain news topics, has some great opportunities for setting up groups and group communications. Case in point, CRN has a like page, and we have a group page. Maybe you set up a community Facebook page for your community. Who knows? We use something called Nextdoor. This program allows neighbors to easily sign up, and we receive email notifications. In these notifications, we discuss crime, disaster, mostly fun. This is not what I want to hear from. Wrong. You guys, no. This is wrong. This is not what I wanted to discuss. This is not what I was led to believe. You are gone. Banished. I see Joe Higgins is in. Hey, Joe. Glad to have you on the Facebook live. Appreciate it. We're still waiting for you, but if you still want to do your tidbit show, you're more than welcome. Want to put that out there for him. I just get crazy when I see things that just do not do anything. I see Tim Rance is in the chat room. If you want to do the chat room, you can do that. It's at blogtalkradio.com/Contra Radio. That's where the chat room is. Tim is in there. He's alone. And what he does with his idle hands, I do not know, nor do I want to know. Something I want to talk to you about before it gets crazy, and we know we're going to hear it, guys. So let me get this down here so we can talk about this. Where is it? Come on. There we go. What we got is this. Now, we've all heard about the Ebola outbreak, okay? Before we get started, I want you to remember, more people have been married to the Kardashians than has died from Ebola in the United States. Call it for what it's worth. All right, get rid of that. This is by Max Slavo from shtfplan.com. Now, I don't want you to panic, but you need to be somewhat concerned, and I'll tell you why later on. So hang in there. Last week, 3 suspected Ebola infections were detected in a remote region of the Congo. Since then, the World Health Organization officials have been scrambling to contain the virus. Their efforts appear to have failed. The contagion continues to spread, and though it's nowhere near the 11,000 people who were infected during the outbreak in 2014, the infection rate has spiked over 800% in just the last 7 days, with at least 9 new cases reported in the last 24 hours. The number of suspected cases of Ebola has risen to 29 from 9 in less than a week in an isolated part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, where 3 people have died from the disease since April 22nd, the World Health Organization said on Thursday. The risk from the outbreak is high at the national level, the WHO said, because the disease was so severe and was spreading in a remote area in northeastern Congo with suboptimal surveillance and limited access to health care. So risk at the regional level is moderate due to the proximity of international borders and the recent influx of refugees from Central Africa Republic. But is nonetheless described the global risk as low because the area is so remote. Now, the 2014 outbreak, likewise, started in a remote region of Africa. But containment efforts were ineffective, and the virus eventually spread to the United States and Europe. Now, according to the WHO, World Health Organization, about 400 people have come into contact with the 29 people infected, and officials are attempting to track them down for monitoring. Protective gear has been dispatched to health workers, and a mobile lab is being constructed and then deployed to the area. Immediate repairs to airstrips and telecommunications are being carried out. The first 6 months of the operation are expected to cost $10 million. With the help of the UN, the first search teams led by the DRC's Ministry of Health flew into Lakiti yesterday. Their immediate priority is to follow the 400-plus contacts of the suspected Ebola virus. Now, as we learned in 2014, all it takes is one infected individual to make it through an airport checkpoint. Wow. So with international travel via airports, trains, and cars available throughout the region, a single infected individual on an airplane could infect scores of others, who in turn could infect scores more. Now, there's a link to this story. It's on the CRN group page and the CRN like page. You need to see this, because what they've done is they've developed a mathematical model that shows how Ebola will spread. It's a worst-case scenario and extinction event. You want to see it? That's where to find it. So, now the following Ebola model from Yanir Baryam, who has successfully simulated and predicted such events as the rise of the Arab Spring, shows how an Ebola contagion may look like. Now, the model is based on Ebola's current infection rates and doesn't take into account its possible evolution as it spreads from human to human. Now, guys, this is when it starts getting a little concerning here. According to scientists, the 2014 strain began hyper-evolving. So, all right, hyper-evolving. That means it's changing faster than they can keep up with. That's how fast it's going. So, to the point that it had not been contained and continued to spread through human contact. It could have gone airborne, making it as easy to catch as a common cold. Now, in response to this unprecedented threat, U.S. government officials began preparing for mass casualties, reportedly going so far as to develop plans for, get this, you're going to love this, guys, plans for community care centers where infected individuals or those suspected of infections would be detained indefinitely. I know. I'm thinking the exact same thing you are. As the Ebola contagion spread across the globe, the panicked populace rushed to stockpile emergency supplies like freeze-dried foods, bioprotective bodysuits, and gas masks. The concern, of course, was that a virus with a 90% fatality rate after infection would make its way to local American communities. Now, as Tess Pennington notes in her Pandemic Preparedness Guide, once it's within 50 miles of where you live, it's time to worry and take immediate steps to isolate your family from the threat, because most people won't realize how serious of a situation that they're in. So looking back at the Black Plague, those living in high-populated areas were hardest hit by this pandemic. The Black Death is estimated to have killed 30 to 60% of Europe's population. Given our vast array of transportation systems, modern society causes infectious disease to spread far more rapidly compared to any other time in recorded history. And because pandemics are fast-moving, vaccinations would be useless. Further, in regards to the world's transportation system, the morbidity rate in a future pandemic could result in millions seeking medical care at the same time, thus overwhelming hospitals and emergency departments. Now, when an outbreak occurs, many will remain in a state of denial about any approaching epidemic. Simply put, most people believe themselves to be invincible to negative situations and do not like the idea of change of any kind. They will remain in this state until they realize they are unable to deny it to themselves any longer. Now, being prepared before the masks come out of their days will ensure that you are better prepared before the hordes run to the store to stock up. Now, perhaps containment procedures being implemented in the Congo by the WHO will be more effective this time than they were in 2014. But what if they're not? What if the virus mutates and goes airborne? Plan accordingly. Yes? No? What do you think? Something to think about. Nothing to be crazy with right now. That's right. Okay. That's right, Tim. You're absolutely correct. If you're on the Facebook Live, you're absolutely correct. You will be taken there to die. Oh, and if you're suspected of having it, you may not. But if there's a way to get rid of your political enemies or a segment of the population you don't like, I think you have Ebola. We're going to send you over here to New Orleans. They got a nice little camp there for you. We'll get you your medical care. But I don't have Ebola. Oh, we think you do. Come. They'll come in, and then they'll escort you away. And you probably would not be heard from again. See, Yumi Altman has joined us. Very good. We say happy birthday to her. So meanwhile, let's find out some more things we have, because I got stuff I got to talk about, guys. The age-old question, and then I want to get with this because this is important. Stockpiling ammo, how much is enough? Every prepper, at every time, has asked others and themselves, how much ammunition is enough? How much do I need? How much will I need? I don't know. I don't have a magic 8-ball. I can't shake up and go, how much ammunition will I need? Flip it over. Please ask again later. You can't do that, all right? So let's try to get to this. This is from prepperswill.com. I thought it was pretty interesting, and I wanted to share about it with you because a lot of us, we talk about this, all right? We do. So let's get this down. Let's get this taken care of here. Get down to business. If you want to call in, let me see. Do I have any callers? I might. Let me see. I do have a caller. Sorry. All right. Go ahead, caller.
How are you?
Go ahead, caller. How are you?
Doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing my...
I'm here.
I'm doing everything. I'm doing the internet radio, and I'm doing video at the same time. We're going to start doing this all the time now. Start building up. Multitasking. You know, I'm looking up at that screen. I'm looking at this screen. Move that from here down to here. Oh, got to check this. Got to check that. You know what? It'd be so much easier.
I've got a question for you.
Fire away. Let's see if I don't know the answer. I'm going to tell you I don't know. But go ahead. You can ask.
Okay.
Somebody might know.
How come we're not seeing it? How come we're not seeing any of this Ebola news on the news? Don't get me wrong. I love seeing the CNR page because that's where I get all the real news at.
Oh.
How come we're not seeing it on our regular world news?
Well, first of all, you get a gold star for the rest of your life. Just because you get a gold star for the rest of your life, and no one can take it away from you. If they try to.
By the way, I shared that. I also shared that on my Facebook page on 2 different deals today when you posted that because it was such an intriguing story.
It is. You know, I think the reason is this. The reason it's not quite the big MSM story, and I'm going to guess here, because I don't think enough people have died from it. As bad as it sounds.
Release the real news.
Well, you know what? That might be too. I mean, even if they release the real news, all they can do is wait and hope that those doctors and biologists and healthcare workers on the front lines in the Congo can get a grip on it and tamp it down. So here we are, billion people pinning our hopes on a few thousand people that they can get a hold of this thing and stop it. I don't know.
Yeah, I just can't see myself going to a FEMA camp to get a vaccination.
Oh, no. There'll be no vaccinations, and it's not a FEMA camp. It's a community care center.
Okay.
A community care center, because we care about you. John,
ask me if I believe that part.
Oh, sir, your government would not lie to you. Remember.
Oh, no, they wouldn't.
They would not lie to you, sir. I don't know where you're coming up with this terrible thing you're saying. No. No. Let's see what we got there. It's a fusion. John Smith, he's on the Facebook Live, and he says it's a fusion center. Yes, it is.
He called it what?
He calls it a fusion center.
Yeah, exactly.
I see Terry made it to the video broadcast. I'm glad he's here. In the meantime, let me ask you this. How much ammunition do you think is enough? I would say you want at least enough for all your weapons. Okay. That's a reasonable answer.
Your preferred weapon that you hunt with, I'd say you want a few more rounds for, just the fact you have might be using it to survive, to kill hogs, whatever with,
Well,
and then your indoor weapon of your choice, you'd probably have a few rounds for,
Well, that's true. No, that's true. That's true. Well, let's try to answer the question. Okay, many preppers, they invest a lot of their hard-earned money in stockpiling ammo. This practice is widely spread and is considered a safety net in case it hits the fan. So we're going to answer the age-old question, how much ammo is enough? It's not easy, but the following should be considered. Most of my friends ponder when it comes to buying ammo. Should I buy 100 rounds or 1,000? This is one of the questions we hear often, and as soon followed by another is, well, how much do you have? These are all questions both beginner and experienced shooters ask at some point. Now, these looming questions have a multitude of responses. However, is there really a correct answer for them? I think I found one here. Okay. So just like your car operates on gas, your firearm is of no use if you don't have enough ammo for it. With increasing scares about ammo shortage, stiffer legislation, California, and all sorts of crises hitting us every day, people are starting to stockpile. Having enough ammo is always a concern, and for the preppers out there with a military background, it becomes a constant burden. Believe me, it is. For me, it's a constant burden. It's like, well, gee, they're having a sale. Buy 100 for this, 500 for that, or 1,000. And I go, honey, I want to buy 1,000 rounds. Okay, no, I get 500. Okay, so I'll take my 500, and that's it for the week. But so think of ammo as a long-term investment. Since the government is trying to regulate firearms and ammunition, those who invest in ammo see it as a long-term investment. Doing so while the opportunity is still at hand is no different than investing in the stock market. If you remember the 22 ammo shortage from 2008, you probably have an idea of what I'm talking about. Back then, the price surge made it almost impossible to get your hands on it, and it showed us the gun market can be highly unpredictable. So we're not going to debate the reasons behind the high cost of ammunition, how it continues to rise year after year. We're just pointing out that people should buy now before there's a reason for prices to surge. Hoarders and media propaganda will influence the price of ammo, and buying as much as you can right now is the logical thing to do. So ammo is a precious commodity, no matter how you look at things. It is. It's true. Now, since ammo requires raw materials to be made, its value will only increase in time. Lead, copper, and aluminum, just to name a few, are resources that will become depleted at some point. The rise in materials cost will trigger a rise in the cost of ammo. Since your bullets consistently increase in value, you should cash in on ammo if presented with the opportunity. Even more, during a prolonged crisis, you could use your ammo for barter. Now, I know this is a delicate topic, and many people advise you not to trade ammo at all. Most believe that you will give others the tools to hurt you if you trade your ammo. However, let's say you live in a trustworthy community, or if you're a part of a survival group, bartering with ammo should pose no danger for you. So, ammo and numbers. So people ask to give an exact number when it comes to storing ammo. And again, well, let me get the magic 8-ball. There's really no honest answer for it. The reason behind it is that people have been trying to find a definitive formula to calculate how much ammo you should own. Some people say 1,000 rounds each caliber is enough. Others could go even further. We all know people who have more than 10,000 rounds for each caliber, and they still don't feel covered. The point here is that every individual's needs are going to be quite different, and you don't do a proper comparison. Now, what works for others isn't necessarily going to work for you. Even more, there are a few factors that will influence the number of ammos you plan to stockpile. Factors such as the living area, population density, level of training, purpose of use are all things one should consider. True? Yes?
Yes.
So, another gold star for you. You're my favorite caller tonight so far. All right. Ammo.
I can tell you one thing you definitely want to do.
What's that? Go ahead. Fire away.
You want to get them moisture silicone packets.
Oh, yeah.
Put in your whatever you got for ammo storage.
Right.
Make sure you have plenty in each box that you have put up.
I do. And you can get those. Those are dirt cheap on eBay. Dirt cheap.
Oh, yeah.
Dirt cheap. You get
cheap
like.
Sporting Goods.
Yeah. I mean, if they're cheap as all hell. Okay. Ammo for training. Now, this is important. Now, we mentioned above that the level of training plays an important role in storing ammo. In fact, you need to spend some time training with your weapon of choice if you don't want to waste ammunition. It's a no-brainer. Then an accurate shooter will exhaust less ammo. Therefore, if you know how to shoot, you will not need 10,000 rounds to hit your targets. And if you do, please just stop shooting. Just stop shooting because you obviously can't hit the broadside of a barn. The downside of training on a regular basis is that you will exhaust a lot of rounds to get to that point when you no longer miss your target after emptying your magazine. Even more, an experienced shooter knows that a certain quantity of ammo is required to keep those skills polished. Bottom line here is that you should stockpile enough ammo to feed your training sessions without running too low on your grid down reserve. Yes? Good idea?
Yes.
I think it's a great idea. It works for me. Okay. Camo Mike is in the chat room. So is Timmy Alspa. Good deal. I haven't heard from you guys in a while. Glad you're here. Okay, all right. Now, how do we buy ammo the smart way? That's, people, look.
I tell you,
What's that?
You can buy it at gun shows or whatever, but occasionally Walmart will have some on sale, and you'll go in there and buy
I hate
a
Walmart.
little 100-round box.
I can't stand Walmart. I can't.
Well, neither can I. But if you can buy a good box of ammo there for half of where you can everybody else,
No, I hear you.
You go in and buy it and you bring it home.
I hear you. No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it's driving me nuts. But
I'm not a big fan myself.
I'm not. But anyways, so let's talk about buying ammo the smart way. All right. So you're seeing that stockpiling ammo can have a huge impact on your household budget. You need to shop smart like you would anything else. The best way to do is buy what works for your budget for your main caliber. You can save a lot of money if you buy in bulk. If that's not possible, you can buy a few boxes of ammunition every paycheck you get. That's what I did. It's called dollar averaging. It may take time to build a serious stockpile, but it won't affect your way of living, and you won't cut back on your comfort. Like I gotta have my TV, man, so I can make fun of the snowflakes. All right, look for deals online. That's what I do. Take advantage of gun shows, like you said, every time you can. You can use these two methods to buy cheaper ammo and guarantee it really works to save a buck or two. So pay attention to the market and inform yourself if you want to save money. Take a look at the news, read magazines, join forums, listen to CRN, watch CRN. Look for newsletters from your area.
Definitely.
It should be easy enough to read the signs of a possible national ammunition shortage. Hey, do you guys remember right after, what the hell was it? Not Newhall. The school shooting with that kid, Adam Lambda, whatever his name was. Do you remember what happened to the 30-round magazines for the AR-15s? Oh, good God. For like a month and a half, the prices went skyrocketing. You couldn't even get them new. And that's how crazy it got. So that's why you start buying the stuff now. Buy stuff. Prepare now when the grid's up, not when it's down. It's too late at that point. Now, another thing we've seen often.
Wait, like.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now, what we've seen often is people spending a lot of money on funny rounds, as I call them. They buy all sorts of ammunition that's new on the market just for fun, like from the incendiary shotgun shells to zombie rounds or hollow bullets. Well, I can understand the excitement of trying something new, and out of the ordinary, I can never understand doing this while you're on a tight budget. The temptation is always there, and I recommend controlling yourself unless you have money to burn. I do not. So ammunition will always be in demand, and it becomes invaluable during a grid-down scenario. You can never have too much, in my opinion, but you shouldn't have tons of it if you have other priorities. You can't eat bullets during a famine, and going Rambo style to get supplies from others will not work for long. So when stockpiling ammo, it simply comes down to how much you can realistically afford without impacting your way of living. You should be able to stockpile ammo while still being able to live within your means. Start slow and steady. If you stay consistent and constant, you will have a serious stockpile in no time. So remember to keep on buying, but also to keep on practicing if you want to use your ammo wisely. Yes? Good ideas? I thought it was pretty good. I liked it.
Very, very good.
Well, you know what, and it brings out some good points.
You said $10 to $20 a week back, depending on your budget.
Right.
And at the end of the month, you can apply that to a pretty good bit.
I agree.
Whether it's canned goods, bullets, or whatever, it all adds up
it's true.
At the end of the month.
It's true. You know, I got mine from. It's been a while since I've even ordered, but I got to do that. And Timothy P. is right. Stockpile ammo along with the rest of your preps. You don't have to buy a case. You don't have to buy a 1,000-round case of ammunition. You don't. Buy 3 or 4 boxes or whatever. Buy 500 rounds. Buy 250 rounds, whatever. And then buy a case of water. Buy a case of food. Unless, of course, you're, what would I call it? I'd probably just look at it this way and say, what is that? Too low. Hold on. We got a complaint that audio is too low. We'll see. We'll crank it up a bit.
Be there.
Right.
In that time frame as well, because you have to kind of prep for them as they're coming up to be able to have their own.
No, I don't know.
Young kids.
Yeah, well.
Whether it's food, water, whatever.
Well, that's true.
You got to have enough to cover for them because they're going to be the hunters and everything else as well once they get certain age.
All right. For you Patriots out there, I did not forget about you guys. I like the Patriots, mainly because Patriots and preppers more or less run around in the same circles. Now, this is coming down. Where did I pick this up at? Okay. Take it for what it's worth. And you want to get a piece of the snowflakes, you want to counter-demonstrate them, you can. They are planning a nationwide anti-Trump riots planned for July 2nd. So they want to play the game. And they will be in cities where they have political cover. So don't be freaked out by these idiots. I can't stand them.
You're saying a word too nice to them. I consider them much love.
Well, I agree with you. I know. So I want you to understand what's going on here. All right. And be prepared. Again, here's that word. Be prepared. The militant, anti-Trump, Antifa leftists are planning huge riots on July 2nd. The establishment media is, of course, fanning the flames by portraying the president as illegitimate. Those idiots wouldn't know what illegitimate was if it bit them on the ass. Now, this could be the flashpoint that brings about a violent coup in America. It might be. It just might be. Because I'm telling you, they're just waiting. Somebody is gonna shoot. And they're going to blame it on the right. The media will jump all over it. I guarantee it. It doesn't matter if Antifa is throwing Molotov cocktails. That will be overlooked, and the mainstream media will absolutely hammer down on the patriots and on the right. You know they will. That is right. No, and they will. So get prepared. Now, the bomb, but something we have to remember too is, and I want you to remember something here. Most of Antifa are cowards. If you go to these rallies, you go to their counter and demonstrate, you put your head on a swivel, 360 degrees, and don't stop. Now, I posted a picture last week of a patriot getting sucker punched from behind. Drove me absolutely bananas. But I also blame the patriot for not having any type of situational awareness. It's like, dude, don't turn your back on these people. Don't. Oh, big time. No, they will not. What is this, Timmy? Well, don't get me crazy on that. I got to ask Tim here. Tim says he's found an AR-15 rifle for $399. Where? Because I want it. I just sent him a question. Where? I want it. So hopefully he'll get it back to me on it for $400 for an AR-15. Let me take a look at it. I'm sorry. He said it was an Smith & Wesson AR for $399. I like Smith & Wesson. They're a good American company. I like that. Oh, tonight's beverage is alkaline water. All right. You want to call in? Cool. Number is 516-453-9389. 516-453-9389. I think John S. is going to be calling in. He wanted to know what the number was. Of course, we'll have him call it. We'll take it.
And I was also going to ask you.
Yes, sir.
What was that? Have you heard anything else on the somewhere up north had a power plant that was leaking or something?
I have not heard. The only thing I heard is that there is another radiation leak at the Hanford nuclear research site in Washington. That this time workers have been contaminated, but again, there's been a gag order thrown over it, so it's hard to, sue.
I know over certain
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Usually, Jason was really keeping us informed on that. I don't know if he's tuning in tonight or not. Sometimes it's hard. Jason has to work sometimes on Sunday, so he doesn't always get in. But he's really been keeping up on that kind of thing. And Julie only lives a couple hours away from there, so she's paying attention as well. So we just, we do what we can. I get my information the same place you guys get it. I don't have any. I don't have any special resources. I have the time. Being retired, I have the time to sit back and putz around on Facebook and check out certain feeds and pages and that kind of thing. Plus, I use my time to harass the snowflakes whenever possible. Mainly because it drives them crazy and they bite. It's like fishing. Just reel them in and here they come. They do it every time. Yes, post it, guys. Brandon, post it. And Tim, if you saw it, post it from Palmetto State Armory. They have them for $399, $449. That's an excellent price. An excellent price. We got a caller coming in. Go ahead, caller. I know. I should be much more understanding, and I want to make sure they have a chance to go to their safe zone before I stick my foot up their ass. Can't stand them. Just can't stand it. Silly bastards. Did you watch those snowflakes at Notre Dame? I don't want to hear what the vice president says. I'm going to get up and walk out. They should. Right. But you know what? And that's exactly what should happen. Well, what are those poor little snowflakes going to do when they get into a meeting with their boss? I don't like what you have to say. I'm leaving this meeting. And the boss is going to say, and don't let the door hit you on the way out. And don't come back. But that's only assuming that the snowflakes that walked out are actually going to get jobs. My guess is they're probably just going to go back to being SJW warriors on the keyboard in mom's basement. They don't. And they're not going to get one.
Their job is to open their mouth and make noise. And I'm like you. I'm going to bite my tongue.
No, don't.
Here's some good news here. I think the whole, impeachment rhetoric is about to go down a little bit. Well, that's not going to happen. Everyone knows that's not going to happen. If Obama can release top secret classified information on 5 separate occasions, one of them was 2011, when he gave the Britons nuclear deterrent secrets to the Russians in order to keep them into the restart program.
Mm-hmm.
Hillary Clinton on her campaign trail basically disclosed on one of the debates that she was on that was televised. Disclosed how much of the response time for nuclear response in the United States would need after a strike, and that was classified information. Not one of those occasions, either during Hillary's campaign faux pas, and it definitely was a faux pas with classified information, or the Obama disclosure of classified information. Not once was there any that did the GOP even try to say impeachment, or not to mention to call for an investigation and a prosecutorial investigation. Not once. But for some reason, when Trump did it, all of a sudden everyone's up in arms talking impeachment. But I'm expecting in the days to come that those impeachment rhetoric is going to scale down significantly over the next several days.
As it broke, I think it was Friday. And okay, you know me. I am not a Brian Williams fan. I am not an MSNBC fan. But I will give credit where credit's due, because that's what integrity is about. Brian Williams asked that reporter at New York Times, have you seen the memo? And he said no. They had journalistic standards have gone. What he did was, this is the journalistic standards at the Times have gone straight to hell. He got a phone call, and the guy read him the memo on the phone. And the New York Times editorial board goes, "Ooh, okay, we'll run with the story. We can get Trump on this." And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? This is what you staked your reputation on? But that's what they did. So the reporters who actually broke the story never even saw the memo at all. The Rachel Maddow fan club. No, Rachel Maddow is, I call her Pat. Remember that character Pat from the 1990s? The androgynous character? Couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman? Yeah, that's Pat. That's not Rachel. That's Pat.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say the once honorable occupation of being a journalist or a reporter. Once upon a time, it had lots of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
It required, stories to be double-checked and vetted.
Right.
Prior to being released and disclosed to the public. Those days are long gone, and a lot of it has to do with social media. A lot of it has to do with crowdsourcing media. People who are off the street giving remarks back and forth, and for some strange reason, if the remarks are serious enough, they'll report it, even though it's not actually news. So the whole, again, once honorable field or occupation of journalism is now without integrity, is now without any type of ethics or vetting whatsoever. And as a result, we have nothing but broadcast news whose reports only consist of National Enquirer-esque items, and that has absolutely no credibility whatsoever. And that's pretty much the world that we live in right now. A world of non-credible news items, not meant to be truthful or honest, but actually to spread a message that people like or that are popular. In this case, their perception. Anything that's anti-Trump is popular and should lead every day. And that's what they're doing. And I think it's just a very, very sad day for America, not to mention for the occupation of journalism, to have resorted to such a low point, in their lives or in the years of broadcasting. Anything else, I speechless. I don't know how else to articulate it other than the fact that it is not the truth anymore. It's all fake news, and it's really a big disappointment of pathetic proportions.
It is, but it's like any other thing. They've been running around unchecked, and they've when you're free to print whatever you want without any regard to the truth, at some point in time, it will come back and bite you on the backside. It will. And they can scream about the First Amendment all they want. But look, my opinion is this. The president is at least 4 or 5 steps ahead of these clowns. Just sit back, get some popcorn, and watch the show. Because, I think Trump is smarter than the journalists are. And don't forget, something that broke out last week, too. Alan Dershowitz, a huge lib, huge Democrat. Even he came out and said, what the hell are you people talking about? There's nothing there. I'm sure, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said that he has heard that the journalists are all starting to back off this Russian story, the Russian collusion, because it's just not true. It just isn't. So, give them time. It's going to run out. It's just already backfiring on the Democrats as it is. Maxine Waters is the best. I love Maxine Waters. They should make sure she stays unmuzzled until 2020. Just let her go. She does more harm to the Democrats. Go ahead.
What makes no sense to me is why did they do it in the first place? Knowing that there's nothing to cooperate with the story, to substantiate, nothing to vet the validity or credibility of that story. They just basically they fling poo, and that's all that they do. And it's only temporary, but it lasts about a couple of weeks before they begin to decide. It begins to subside, and then they have to move on to other stories and other headlines. But it doesn't make any sense to me. In my logical mind, why did they do that to begin with? And then they all look stupid and foolish when it turns out they were wrong. Like the whole, what the hell is it? The Nunez fellow that basically had documentation proving that Trump's campaign were actually bugged. But for some reason, for several weeks prior to that, all CNN was doing was narrating the story or spinning the story that there was no proof that what Trump said is true, no proof that what Trump said is true over and over and over again until Nunez came out with that information. Next thing you know, all that stuff about Trump's no evidence story just sort of disappeared. He never said anything about that, and we're seeing this time and time again with CNN and MSNBC, where they spin some type of outlandish story that's absolutely outrageous. They do it for like a week or two, and then when it's not going in the direction that they want it to, they somehow scale back on that. But it doesn't make any sense to me why they even do that in the first place. But they keep on doing it over and over and over. It's like it's habitual.
They're liberals.
Pathologically habitual and deliberate.
Right.
And I can't believe even more pathetic than how low the news agencies are going in their anti-Trump rhetoric is that there is a group of people who are, presumably a little less than half of the American population who actually believe, hey, if CNN says it, then it's got to be true. Or if the Internet says it, then it's got to be true. And it's not. Most people lack the intellectual capacity doing any type of investigation or research on their own to see if what they find is consistent with what's being reported. They just lack that ability to. There was that report about our college students. I'm sorry, it wasn't a college student. It was like a large percentage of the American population couldn't find Korea on the map. What we're looking at is basically a systemic, very methodical dumbing down of our population, either through news media, printed media, and to even a certain extent our academic institutions. They're dumbing it down little by little to the point where they can't think for themselves anymore, and they can't differentiate between truth and bullshit. And that, to me, is very, very scary.
All right. Uh-oh, Combo Mike is gone. He left the chat room. I'm sad. All right. Hey, question for you. Does the Ebola outbreak in the Congo concern anybody here on this, right here, right now? Whether you're in the chat room or where else you're listening. You can hear me or see me. Does the Ebola outbreak concern you at all right now?
Yes, it should concern all of us.
Okay.
And the reason why, we're watching it as it grows. We just hope it doesn't grow and come this far.
Right. Like I think when I was talking about it, I made the point, we got over 1 billion people, and we're pinning our hopes that those few hundred or 1,000 people can clamp down on this outbreak before it mutates or spreads. What I thought was interesting is that they haven't upgraded or repaired their infrastructure there for their airports or anything else, and now they've got an outbreak on their hands. All of a sudden they rush to try and get it all taken care of. What the hell you guys been doing all these years? You got an airport in a far-flung region of your country. You should make sure that airport is standard. It's up, it works. It's usable. It just amazes me how some of these countries around the world just doesn't do anything. Oh, what's this now? What did Tim do?
Well, a lot of these countries are broke.
Would this not be the second Ebola outbreak that occurred over the past 5 years?
There was one that...
This would be the second one, right? Remember the one previously where that nurse made the headlines?
That was,
a bitch.
That was in 2014. And again, we saw just how out of control it can get so quickly. At the time, they were all worried because every time the virus goes from human to human, it mutates slightly. They were worried it might become airborne. If it becomes airborne, this whole world is in for a real treat. And you won't like Ebola. It's bad stuff. Now, there are various strains of Ebola. The state of Virginia had an Ebola outbreak not too long ago, but it wasn't the same strain as the Zaire strain, which is, I think when they finally get it down, they're going to find out this is the Zaire strain of Ebola. The one in Virginia was a different strain. It wasn't nearly as toxic or deadly as the Zaire strain. So with that said, yeah, 2014 when we imported that guy from Good Samaritans from Samaritan's Purse, he contracted it, and in fact he was a doctor if I remember, and he had to come back to the United States and get treatment. We had the nurse. If you're not familiar with what Ebola does, you leak bodily fluids out of every orifice in your body, and that's why it's
included.
It's unbelievably bad news, because what the virus does is that it actually starts to liquefy your internal organs, and it gets really bad really fast, and that's why it's so contagious. Because you got to get in there. If you're a medical professional, you're in there trying to. Where's Julie? I bet you Julie would have all kinds of information on this, what they have to do. But you go in there, you have to clean up the patients. You're trying to get them their meds. It's got to be an absolute mess and very dicey at best, especially if,
Yeah, that climate's the most horrible way to die.
Well, think about it. What if I remember right? If I remember my geography right, Congo's right along the equator. Can you imagine being in a biological suit when it's 90 degrees and humid? Oh my God! So. There you go. That's right. No, it cannot be. And that's right. It liquefies your insides, Tim. That's exactly what the Zaire strain does. And that's why. And if it becomes airborne, I myself, I'm going to have to go find. In fact, I'm going to do it before then because I've been meaning to do it and I've been putting it off. I'm guilty of it. So I will confess my sins to all, and that is this: I got to get some new filters for my NBC mask. So I gotta get some new filters for those, and they're hard to come by sometimes. Sometimes there's a lot of them out there, and sometimes there isn't. But I'm gonna have to go get some. No, they're not using biological suits in Africa. What are they using? They gotta be using something. They're not going in there with a t-shirt, pants, and sandals. Porky wheel. No. I've seen pictures of them. They're doing more than masks and gloves and aprons. So maybe they are. I don't know. The last pictures I saw, they were wearing NBC suits. But you know what? If I was over there treating them, I'd be wearing an NBC suit. All right. Some of you are saying that the audio's a little off on the Facebook. That's okay. I can't do anything about it. So just bear with it. We'll get better at it. We'll figure out stuff.
What I'm trying to clarify is back in 2014, was that also an Ebola breakout?
Yes. In fact,
so in other words, we had the second Ebola breakout originating from the same country.
No, different country.
Different country.
But it's in Africa, though.
Yeah,
It's the same continent.
it's farther inland. It's farther in. The Congo's farther inland. The 2014 outbreak was right along the west coast of Africa. It was at Ghana, New Guinea, not New Guinea, just Guinea. Is Guinea?
Nigeria, maybe?
No, I don't think it made it that far south. There are three countries that they were right along the coast, but the Congo's inland farther. But I'm waiting to see what strain that they identify it as.
Okay, so it sounds like we're looking at another breakout, and that's probably going to be leading in the headlines in the weeks to come. I don't know how soon then. But there's also, that's underreported, is in the state of Texas last week, there was some type of strain that was absolutely antibiotic resistant to all known antibiotics.
Yes.
And it was a breakout in the state of Texas.
In the Houston area.
That was put under control, but that's so far going underreported.
I saw that. I got that on the CBS News. It was in the Houston area, and this particular What was it?
It's called a super bug, isn't it?
It's a super bug, but it lives. It lives in all of every human being. It lives in our intestines, and when it gets out, that's when it gets bad. And in fact, I talked about it Wednesday. I did talk about it Wednesday night on Wednesday night's show. But yeah, it's out of the Houston area. There are like 11 people, and again, magically disappears from the radar. Don't hear anything about it. Nobody knows anything. Oh, by the way, what I forgot I got to do is, that's right, Liberia. That's right, Liberia was the other country. What I forgot to do is I need to say welcome to the broadcast to the NSA and the field office of the FBI. I know you guys are listening. Brian K. told me. Welcome to the broadcast, guys. We're glad you're here. Please feel free to call in. We'd love to hear from you. We'd like questions. We have questions for you. We'll see. My guess is right now, I'm sure black helicopters are on the way to my house. If you hear glass breaking, my dog barking, the wife screaming, you guys hang up, but I'll leave the video running so we can all hear it and see what happens. What's the worst that could happen to me? Send me to a FEMA camp because I might have, Ebola. That's all right. That's all right. What else do we have there? Okay. Porky Will is getting very upset with us in Northern Ireland because we were talking about guns, which the Crown won't. He cannot own one. The Crown will not allow it. The Crown has to think. Is it
legal over there to have a slingshot?
I don't know. He's listening. We'll find out in a second. He's in the chat room, I think. I don't know if he's in.
You'll have to ask him that.
It depends on what the Crown says on any particular given day. I don't know. Porcula, he wanted to know if you're allowed to have slingshots.
Well, it's interesting to note that in the country of England, I think this was also 2015 or 2014. Whatever the year was that they instigated their very restrictive gun control program. In the years that followed, reports of stabbing and other violence with sharp-edged knives started increasing to the point where now I don't know about right now this minute, but eventually to the point where politicians as well as news outlets were basically crying for new legislation to restrict the sales of sharp-edged knives to consumers because people were still dying, people were still being getting violent, but not with firearms this time with knives. So, and the thing, and here's the city. Another thing I thought was kind of stupid, but still in a funny way. There was a news report last week regarding two cops being shot, and next thing you know, at that press conference, this one guy that was talking to Chicago has a gun problem. And I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute, what if a whole bunch of people got hit by cars? Does that mean Chicago's going to say they have a car problem? You know what I mean? No, that's not going to happen. The real problem that Chicago has is not a gun problem. It's a crime problem. It's a violence problem by criminals. And that's what's the real problem. But for some reason, it's easier for them to, blame the object, and they will blame the gun.
Right.
But they won't blame the car. The car is responsible for mass fatalities at all. And I think that there was one where in the city of New York, was it? There was a car that actually get on the sidewalk and killed several commuters or pedestrians on the sidewalk. But they didn't say it was a car problem. So okay, whatever.
You mean the car just didn't turn in? The car didn't turn to kill the pedestrians on its own any more than a gun goes off on its own? Okay, here you go. All right, here's your answer from Porky Wheel. Yes, they can have slingshots. He says, don't start me about knives. He says you can only have.
I don't know the answer to that.
And he can only if you have an ID card and you're over 18. Be grateful you live in this country. Look, it may.
Oh, yeah, my 6-year-old carries a knife bigger than Porky can own.
Oh, Porky wants to come here so bad. He can taste it.
I wish he'd come over.
He came here. He came in the United States on his honeymoon, and I've been trying to talk him in.
That was like 20-some years ago.
Right, and I'm trying to talk him into going to the embassy and getting the paperwork started, and get him over here. I don't know.
Yeah, boy, he would just find out stuff he thought he could never do. He could do over here and go, "Wow, it's legal."
And nobody will blink an eye.
Yeah.
And the Crown doesn't care what happens over here. Even the poor.
I think it's fair to say that people should, get on the ground and kiss it and thank God that they're in this country, which is far better than being in England, or for that matter, the country of Australia.
Okay.
But the concern is, how long is this going to be a great country?
There's
That's something we all have to worry about. Right now, the Constitution is almost on a daily basis under attack somehow.
Oh, the Constitution is under attack.
I can bring up a small thing on that because we notice it here because they're taking down all of our monuments that have anything to do with Civil War. And people do not want these things going, and they're still taking them down.
The Alabama legislature passed a law. No one is to take any of those monuments down. They belong to the state, and they cannot be taken down.
Yep,
Here's to you, Alabama.
People are throwing it down.
I got a feeling the Landrew family's political fortunes are just about over forever. It's just a matter of time.
They needed to be a long time ago.
Right, but I think this will pretty much put the kibosh on it.
Yeah, because his sister had a job down here, and I can't remember what her.
She was the senator who at first was against Obamacare, and then once they threw some sweet
She made it where the motorcycle guys had to wear helmets, including the police departments, and they had stickers on the front of the windshields of the bikes. The cops did.
Right, and
Real nasty about it.
So I think, and Mitch Landrieu's the mayor of New Orleans. I think this will pretty much skewer him. He's probably done. That family's done. They've been in Louisiana politics for 100 years, something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I think they shot their wad decades ago, and hopefully they're on their dying last breath politically. Speaking of dying last breath, did you guys see the story that was posted for Mount St. Helens is becoming reactivated again? You guys following that?
I caught a small article that you posted, but I never got a chance to read it.
Are you what? Okay, this is from Porky Wheel. Buying and carrying knives in the UK. The maximum penalty for an adult carrying a knife is, get this, guys, 4 years in prison and an unlimited fine. You'll get a prison sentence if you're convicted of carrying a knife more than once. Are you serious? Get a grip. It's no wonder the people of Europe are just rolling over. They got to deal with this nonsense.
Look, my 8-year-old boy went into my parts house where I buy my parts at for my business.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm sorry, 9-year-old son went in there and bought like a pair of these Gerber needle-nose pliers that's got two knives in it, and one knife, as long as your finger.
Yeah.
And he paid cash at the counter and walked outside with it, opened it up, put it in his pocket, And like I say, my 6-year-old carries a 5-inch blade knife.
Well, it sounds to me like Porky Will needs to get his butt over here. Forget the land of which you are living. Your wife is making slave wages, working way more than 40 hours a week. You can do the same thing here and get paid decently for it. I've already told that.
You own a gun and a knife.
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
And a machete. machete, because you can't own a machete over there.
Bring a machete. Nothing like a angry Irishman with a machete. Kind of scary thought.
Man, I'm telling you, I could put him in the woods out here. He'd have a heart attack. He has so much freedom.
Oh, here you go. Lock knives are not classed as folding knives and are illegal to carry in public without good reason. Now, who the hell do you think makes up the standard of the good reason? Who determines what would be a good reason for you to carry it or not carrying it? Well,
that's the guy who's afraid to fall asleep at night because he's scared and wants his teddy bear to protect him.
Well, that's the crown. The crown will protect all. Or at least they say they will. So if Mount St. Helens is getting ready, hey, look, you guys live out there in the on the West Coast, especially by Washington State, the eastern Washington State, and you lived through the 1980s, you probably lived through the first eruption. You need to start prepping now. Geological survey says the mountain's rumbling again. So don't be surprised.
I actually know a couple people that went through Mount St. Helens.
Really? Do they still live there, or did they leave afterwards?
No, they left afterwards.
I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all.
I know them.
In the meantime, now, the first point I was reading tonight was something. It was billed as something that it was not. That's why I about halfway through I said, "This is nuts. I'm not. No. I'm not going to expose my listeners to this nonsense. I'm not doing it," and I shut it out. So, if you're looking for the story about safe communities, it was not billed that way. They made it sound like it was something on how to build a safe community after a grid down situation or during a grid down situation. It was not, and I said, enough, done, gone. I'm not doing that. I'm very disappointed in it. Porky Will, he's drunk on whiskey and carrying a machete. I dare you to step outside in your front door and go stand on the sidewalk with it. I just want to see what happens. And point your camera, Porky Wills, out the window so we can all see what happens. Hopefully we'll... What? We'll take up a collection and get you some bond money. Relax. It's not that bad. So, all right. Well, come on. Gotta do something. No, he says he'll do it at Gary's house. All right. Well, Gary's house, you can do that. You can do a lot of things at Gary's house you can't do anywhere else. All right. Well, it's true. It's true. Make no mistake. Oh, yeah. It is true. All right. What else we got going on tonight? I think that's about all I really wanted to say for the show tonight. We've seen a rise, and maybe I mentioned it Wednesday, maybe I didn't, but I want to reiterate it again. We've seen in listenership for CRN, we've seen a 2% rise in listenership in New Zealand and Australia, and on the continent of Africa. We're in South Africa, Mozambique, in Zimbabwe and Ghana. In the South American continent, we are being heard in Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and the socialist utopia of Venezuela. Good luck to you people in your fight for freedom. And if you want to contact us, if you're in Venezuela, you want to contact us, tell us what's going on, ContraRadio@live.com. Get a hold of me. We'll get you on here. We'll figure a way for you to talk to the rest of the world. Tell us what's going on there. We also have listeners in Russia. Oh, no. Russians are listening to this show? Horrid thought. And, of course, we've seen a rise in the United Kingdom. Yes, that's right. CRN is strictly forbidden in the Deep Prick, or North Korea. You're absolutely right, Tim. On the other hand, everything's forbidden there. Everything that is not permitted is forbidden. So, but getting back to it, Europe, we're seeing a bigger increase in listenership in Europe. Of course, most of our listeners are here in the United States, and the demographics, the big demographic for us are 35 to 54-year-olds, believe it or not. That's our biggest. They make up 67% of our listenership. That's huge. And, of course, the female listenership is up over 2% as well. I like to share the success with my listeners. I want you to know that your efforts to listen and check in have not gone unnoticed. And, of course, I like hearing from you, all of you. So.
And the Facebook page, I think, is doing really well too.
It's starting. The group page is starting to catch on quite a bit. Especially, we have a plethora of patriots from the Dakotas that have joined in the last 2 weeks. I think we've had at least 35 or 40, in one night, all decide they want to join. So that's good. We like listening to them. I like having them there. So I think that's all we really got going on. We got the T-shirts. Order your damn T-shirts. Tell me what item you want. Tell me what item you want, what size you want, and how many. ContraRadioLive.com, send it there so I can keep a record of it. We only got 25 so far. We're halfway there. If I get the money I think I'm getting coming in from a tax return, I'm going to buy the entire order up. And then I'll ship out for those that have already ordered or have ordered and asked for them. Then I'll ship those out then. But I won't do it until Uncle Sam decides to quit screwing with me. This is going on a 5-year project, so that's another story and a long, long way to go. No, I'm
sorry I missed the show for a couple weeks. I missed a lot. So
you did.
It was we had a very extremely busy, hectic schedule, so we was unable to tune in. And I was quite glad I was able to actually get out tonight and actually be able to listen to the show. So, and by the way, good stuff.
Oh, very good. Very good question. Here you go. Here's something for the listeners. Listen up, guys. Tim's Rants in the chat room has a great question. That is, getting back to Ebola, what's to stop a bunch of Islamic terrorists from heading down to the Congo and French kissing some of the infected, then heading over here?
I thought about that myself.
You can't stop them. I mean, they're going to have to literally get infected and get on over here somehow, some way across the border, get into this country, and start mingling with large populations, and then wait for the incubation period. Oh, yeah. And of course, we got word Alaska has just had 2 eruptions recently. Yes, they have. That whole section.
That makes absolutely no sense. What good is the World Health Organization if there's an outbreak in another country, but yet they don't ban travel to those countries? The whole purpose of banning travel to those countries is to isolate the spread of and prevent it from spreading to other parts of the country. But they don't freaking do that. It makes no sense to me why. What the hell? You know what I mean?
No, I hear you. And the thing is this. Yes, they can ban travel. The problem is, as it was in 2014, because this is really close to the border area, these people just walk across the borders. They don't have to even drive. They can walk across the borders, and they can't keep, we can't even keep people out of our own country along the entire border. They're even worse off. They don't have to go through a checkpoint. They can walk farther down and cross at a different point, and no one will ever know it. And that's the issue. That's the problem.
The same way.
Right. I mean, unless you put them in a FEMA camp and restrict their movements, that's the only way you'll stop it. Now, it's not to say that Congo won't do that. They might very well start rounding people up and saying, until you get better or die, you're not leaving. It's not a great solution, but it's the responsible solution to a problem that could could become, remember people, as I said at the start of the show, more people have married the Kardashians than have died of Ebola in the United States. So bear that in mind. Well, it's true. And you're right. It would be a lot. It'd be a lot easier than trying to smuggle a nuke or an EMP device into the United States.
Yeah, because I mean they already want to kill themselves anyway, so that would just go right along with their.
And you could go ahead.
They're sorry. Excuse.
And during the incubation period, you could be going into the United States, mixing it up with your fellow infidels, and having a great time. And 2 weeks later, after the incubation period, that outbreak starts. There'll be no stopping it, because once they start mixing with the public, and they spread it, guess what? They're taking it home, and
wildfire.
It's literally, it's bad.
Allow me to pause for station identification.
Go ahead.
Thank you for joining Contra Radio. You'll be happy to know that no liberals were harmed during the taping of this program, and all sessions have been done in a safe and humane manner. Thank you very much, and we return you to your regularly scheduled program.
Yes, thank you very much. What about, you didn't say anything about their feelings, though. It's all about feelings. Soft, fuzzy, warm feelings with multi-psychedelic colored unicorns, talking dolphins that glide effortlessly through the air, spouting wisdoms of truth to all. What about their feelings? All right.
Can't we all get along?
Oh, we are a sorry bunch, but we are fun. We are definitely fun.
Right.
We are very fun. And we like this. All right. What do we got there? Now, Porky Will says we'd have to quarantine people up to 30 days. I don't know. Maybe that's the time that it takes to run its course. Maybe after 30 days, it's either you're going to make it or you're not.
I think if you have it, you die within the first 15, 20 days, and if you make it 30 days, then you're non-spreadable.
I think it might be a little bit longer than that. I totally forgot what the incubating period is.
I don't remember either.
I know that one nurse that was exposed to it but never caught it. She was restricted to go home for 30 days.
I remember her too. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. I remember that. Yes. I remember
She
her.
went jogging and
Yeah.
papers off and everything else. So.
Sometimes when people act like that, you're just asking for somebody to do something really bad to you. I mean, people who don't listen to CRN, well, they're not all as informed as we are. Well, they're not as informed as they should be. But what's to say, and I'm glad it didn't happen, but what's to say that while she was out jogging, riding her bike, being in public, that somebody didn't just come up and shoot her dead. And in their minds, they're thinking, well, I had to. Public, health was at risk by her being out. And they're not going to care whether she was a carrier or not. All they're going to care about is what was said on the news. But I'm just saying, you do things like that, there's a possibility you could end up with some really bad juju coming down you. Not good.
Well, and I remember she had her boyfriend or something. She had him come out too. So then I don't know if he turned around and went home or whatever, but he would go back and forth and visit her. So
yeah,
it was like she went wherever she wanted to at that point.
Yeah, I remember that. And it was controversial. And she was, I try to put myself into her shoes. And if she said she wasn't...
I would too in that predicament, and she was pretty confident that she didn't have it.
Right.
But, if you think you're in that position and you have the choice to go home for 30 days,
Mm-hmm.
You could have people drop off meals on your porch and leave, and then you could go out in a rubber suit and pick your meals up, walk them back in the house and eat them, You gotta respect your neighbors as well.
And you have to, look, I'm all about individual liberty. That's what the Constitution is set up to protect the individual, not the state. And yes, I understand also there's a component of being a responsible citizen, which half of this country has forgotten. As far as they're concerned, it's owed to them. I got news for you. It's not owed to you. The world, my country, owe you zip. Nada, nothing.
That's right.
If you're a good citizen, right, and if you're a good citizen, if you're truly a good, responsible citizen, you'll be prepping. You don't want your government providing for you, for your individual family needs. One, you'll never be satisfied with it. Two, it will never be enough. And three, it's the government. Come on, guys. Think about this. You're right, Tim.
Earlier on,
Yeah, Tim,
earlier today I was listening
she was a
to
jerk.
the WBBM report. Oh, sorry about that. So earlier today I was listening to the WBBM report. More talked about, it was on AM, talked about the whole Russian thing and the whole, whistleblowing. And there's this one speaker that says that this whistleblower who brought this information out into the public about either about Trump disclosing classified information or I'm not sure. His rant pretty much said that the whistleblower was a patriotic person who was trying to make sure that anything bad that Trump did would not go unnoticed or something like that. And I just hurled when I heard that. Basically, I think and in this country we got to be very careful because I think the general mindset of this country is on the decline. It's degrading gradually, where we don't have an idea anymore what's good or what's bad or what's patriotic or what's not. But when we come to the point where you are calling the whistleblowers as patriots, then something is severely wrong with your mindset. And if this one person on the radio can say that, I would have to say that there's a whole class of people in our country who with such a warped grasp of reality who probably believe the same thing, and that's very, very dangerous in my opinion.